all local issues for this civic year. I'd like to welcome you all coming this morning. Hope you're enjoying the nice sunny weather at the moment. So item 1, appointment of chair.
Chair, this item is to note, so under the delegation of the leader, the membership of the committee is Councillor Paul Davis, Councillor Masood Ahmed and Councillor Graham Turner, the chair being Councillor Graham Turner, and today we have Councillor Mather substituting for Councillor Paul Davis. Thank you.
So are members happy that I'm the chair?
Yes.
Thank you very much for that.
Yes, Chair.
So members of the committee, there's, as Andrew has pointed out, the Councillor Masood Ahmed, Paul Davis and Councillor Graham Turner. Councillor Davis is on holiday and Councillor Mather is substituting for him. Item 3, minutes of the previous meeting, to approve those minutes. Can we do that? Because Paul's not here. There's only me, so we'll have to hold those over to the next meeting because there's only me at that meeting that's actually here again today. So we'll roll those over to the next meeting. Item 4, declarations of interest. Has any members got any interest to declare, either procuring or financially? Nope. Okay, thank you. Admission of the public. There's nothing to exclude the public from today. This is a public meeting and being cast on the webcast. Deputation of petitions. Have any deputations or petitions?
No, Chair.
Okay. Item 7, public question time. We have a couple of members of the public here, but they're going to speak under item 9. So we'll move on. Member question time. No members here apart from the committee. So item 9, traffic regulation order 192022. Proposed no waiting at any time at Field Lane, Wood Street, George Street, Talbot Street, Whittaker Street and Bar Street in Batley. It's here today to consider objections to the proposed traffic orders. Which officer is going to speak? Are you leading on this, Karen? Okay, so I'll hand over to Karen, our highways engineer.
Good morning. We did a scheme here in response to complaints received from the Batley East Ward councillors on behalf of local residents about inconsiderate and obstructive parking on Wood Street, both sides of Field Lane, on the junctions of George Street, Talbot Street, Whittaker Street, and around the bend from Bar Street, particularly looking up Field Lane on the right-hand side, due to parking constantly. Several site visits were undertaken and we developed the scheme, trying wherever possible to keep the restrictions minimal. I do realise that the plan looks a little bit excessive, but Wood Street is less than 5 metres wide, so any parking on it would block access. Double parking on Field Lane also blocks access, and it means that drivers have to drive on the footpath to get past. There's no two-way flows or anything. So we developed the scheme, advertised the scheme, and in response we received 3 objections and 1 petition. The first 2 objections were mainly about putting double yellow lines all the way down Field Lane. But if you look, that we are merely reinforcing the highway code with 10 metres, or they're on one side of the road and then transfer to the other side of the road to maintain access and visibility. There is parking still available in the long stay car park and on Victoria Avenue to accommodate any displaced parking. We also had complaints that the community centre was being used as a national health COVID vaccination centre, and that's no longer the case, and the problem has gone away. However, further site visits since that time, after the COVID restrictions ended, and as recent as a couple of weeks ago, are showing drivers are still parked on the footpath, blocking pedestrian access and on both sides of the road. Objection 3 is from a business who reports that putting yellow lines down will seriously compromise the business. He thinks that It's still currently being used as a COVID vaccination centre. I'm not sure if that's the case or not. And it's drivers who aren't using the community centre car park. He disagrees with the proposals and wondered if he could have a conversation. I did get back to them and explain the reasons behind the scheme, and he still wanted his objection to stand. But restrictions are designed to maintain safe vehicular and pedestrian access and reinforce the highway code, and it should help encourage drivers to use the designated car park if that's the case. We also got a petition from 214 residents in the Batley, Dewsbury and Hetland Dyke area. 6 signatures were from Bradford and 1 from Leeds, but there were only 5 properties who were directly affected on the petition. In that case, what we can say is we still get the complaints of obstruction. Residents complain that there are regular beeping of horns because vehicles can't get through. And parking, we waited until the parking patterns had returned to normal before we undertook several more site visits to show that the problem was still taking place. Taking this information into account, we are proposing that the scheme should be implemented as advertised to prevent obstructive and inconsiderate parking at this location.
Thank you very much for that. So I'll get our speakers from the public here to have their say. Would you like to introduce yourself, start from the right, from the left?
I'm Mr. Jonathan Mack. I own the property on Field Lane, corner of Whitaker Street, 24 Field Lane I own. I run 2 businesses from there and a non-profit as well.
So you've got 3 minutes to state your objections to the proposals.
I just feel as though it's going to detriment, both my businesses and, and my non-profit especially. I might not be there, in a few more years' time, but I do wish to help the public, and, there's different classes starting there, and I really do object because I feel as though it is going to detriment my business and my non-profit as well.
Okay, thank you very much then. And your colleague, would you like to introduce yourself the same? You've got 3 minutes to state your objections.
Hi there. I run an auto fix as a garage workshop. Iftikar Hussain. And I've been here nearly 30 years. For all that time, I've been known as well area in that area, but I've never, nobody sort of come approach to me and said we've had obstructions of parking. Because, I'm friendly known in that area, so if anybody would complain, I would be the first one to know. But it would affect my business as well because I use a lot of car park space outside. That's the only space I've got.
Okay, is that the end of your submission?
Yeah.
Thank you. Just turn it back up, please. Members, have we got any questions? Naheed?
Not questions. In relation to the scheme being put forward, it was the ward councillors that came forward. The council doesn't actually go around putting these kinds of schemes in operation unless there's a need. The residents must have gone to the ward councillors. The scheme has been built up. We recognise it's a very built up area, and road safety and enforcing the highway code is what the council is trying to do. And in doing that, ensuring that any displaced vehicles have parking available. So I cannot see, yes, obviously you'll be displaced if you can't park right in front of your business, but that doesn't mean there isn't parking available. It makes the road safer for everybody who use, including the pedestrians. So I think the scheme being put forward, as far as I can see, makes the use of our highways safer. Thank you, Chair.
In terms of the scheme itself, I mean, again, obviously all three ward councillors of Batley East have supported the scheme, and from the discussions they've had, they've obviously spoken to the residents in that area as well. So the scheme's come about as a result of them being lobbied by their constituents and residents in the area. I mean, officers have also spoken to businesses and other people in the area by going out and physically seeing those people out there. In terms of the COVID centre, like the officers have mentioned and have been out, they've still echoed that the COVID centre still, obviously it's not obviously open, the issue is still there. Yes, there is the long-term parking available as well. I think the biggest thing, and again that's been echoed by the ward councillors and the residents, is safety is paramount and pedestrian access is paramount. And something else that the officers have looked into more deeply was the petition. Obviously there were 250 signatures on that, and there's only 5 people from within that densely populated area that physically come out unobjected. So that means the others that have been speaking to the elected members are the ones that have been pushing for it. So based on the officers and based on what's come back from, mainly from the elected members as well as other points that I've raised, I'm supporting the scheme.
Okay, thanks, Masood. From my own observations on this, I wouldn't claim to know this area particularly well. I haven't had the chance to pop out and have a look. What I did do is I spent an awful lot of time on Google Maps and Street View and had a good look at this, and to say the parking was horrendous would be quite an understatement from the views I had in Street View, and at the same time the car park was empty. And I wouldn't have wanted to live there or drive down that road, because I said it was like almost like a chicane. It was terrible. So given the fact that ward members have brought this here, there's been very, very limited objections from the local residents. Hence, we've only had 5 local residents complain about this. Obviously, we take our elected members very seriously. We're a member-led organisation, and I take their knowledge very, very seriously, and they're the ones that know this area better than we do, or certainly I do. So I'm happy to support this. If someone would like to propose and second it, then we'll go to the vote. Sorry, do you want to add anything, Karen?
Yeah, can I just point out that plan is not the latest version, so I think it's important. Yeah, at the side of your business at Matt Glass, I agreed to shorten it, and that's what's been advertised, but it's the full length there. So that will happen if it goes forward. It wouldn't be 10 metres, it would be the 5. All right. And I'll replace the plan for the final decision. Thank you.
Right, okay, thank you, Karen. So would anyone like to propose and second this?
I propose that we move.
I second that, Chair.
Okay. So we've had a mover and a seconder. All in favour of accepting the recommendations as the new recommendations as pointed out by Karen? Okay, that's 3 in favour, so that's a majority. So that that regulation order will be implemented in due course. Thank you very much for your attendance, everybody, and that's the end of the meeting today.